A $5 super thanks from CJ DeYoung III. Yes, but Laurel and Hardy aren't going to fire Eberflus, which is the fun name for it. Who do we replace him with? This was in firing. Do you want to fire Eberflus? He said yes. I think the answer there is Aaron Whitecotton probably gets a chance to call the plays defensively. Everyone else is a direct Flus disciple and probably not the route you want to go. Whitecotton is at least the outsider. Does that work? I have my doubts. But that's the situation that the Cowboys find themselves in, that the options aren't good, but we're kind of past the good options at this time. If you want in to our weekly Cowboys raffles, assigned giveaways, etc., a $5 super thanks gets you in to the raffle. So can't watch live? Super thanks instead. A lot of long comments here from Anthony Hill Burner. I will summarize in cheap, saying that he went back with the mic comments. A lot of cope on that front. Asking Clark and Osa to be Aaron Donald isn't fair. You guys, not Tom, ate Jerry slop as usual. I know the Dak haters like to hear this, but many good QBs struggle against great defenses. But as usual, Dak is allowed to have a game where he doesn't pass 30 yards and 3 scores, even though guys like Hurts and Mahomes could win throwing for 100. Is it just me, or do most of Dak throws have to be perfect because there isn't enough separation? Meanwhile, any QB against our defense light them up. I think Bland is the only guy willing to tackle defensively. Maybe Reddy Stewart as well. A lot going on there. I will say I watched the Eagles win a game with 0 completed passes. Like they were like 0 of 8 or 0 of 9 with Hurts. That would never happen for this particular team. It's not realistic to expect the offense to carry you every single week. At some point, the other side of the ball has to show up. For this season, the best case in that is you held a team without the worst team in football, or you held a team without the top 3 receivers to 22 points. It's not actually that good in the end. Kevin Walker, thanks. Cowboys' only problem is the Joneses, with a very similar super thanks that came in as well. Look, I completely understand all of the frustration on the Jerry Jones side. I completely understand all of it. It is, in the end, this is a Jones-led group. They are the ones who hired the coaches. They are the ones who drafted the players. William Cook is right. This is with $5 super thanks. The reason for these performances are one of the worst GMs in football. He refused to sign his best players early and traded him because of his feelings got hurt. He refuses to actually sign good players in free agency, has not had a good defensive draft in 4 years. That part, by the way, super under the radar. I think the sheer influence from your defensive coaches has kind of led to some problems when they all get fired/leave. But the buck has to stop with the front office, and they never take accountability. Are you mad at the Jones boys? FJB in the comments section of today's show. Sound off in the comments if you are upset. D1 athlete. Again, I'll condense these down here because they're 2 very similar ones that came in separately. Trade this year's first for Crosby, next year's first for Hendrickson. We win the Super Bowl, and then we're all happy. Then he also said something similar. Loves the show. Love what you're doing there. Had the same idea on a different super chat. But I want to give him the shout out there. This year's first for Crosby, next year's first for Hendrickson. Here's my issue. And he's right. You can restructure Smith. The money's fine. 2 firsts for Hendrickson is way too much. I don't even know if the Reds would take 2 firsts for Crosby. Because that was, I mentioned I put that out there, and y'all got mad saying that was way too much. And then got mad when the Raiders said they weren't going to trade him. Well, you have to pick one. Either overpay or don't get him. I am frustrated by the front office. I get that. You have issues on defense. I don't know if you're actually smart to trade away your first-round picks right now, unless it is a very special player. Crosby would fit that mold. I don't know if there's anybody else like even remotely out there, and I don't think Max is available either. B-Phil's 10. Why do you think they have not yet paid Aubrey? / what do you think his contract will look like? It's a kicker. It should be easy. Deserves it. Also, what will a potential Javonte Williams extension look like? Maybe the Tony Pollard deal from a couple years ago. Slight pay boost is what you see Javonte get. 2 or 3 years. Does he get $7-8 million with 1.5 years guaranteed? I think that's reasonable for the Javonte side. As for Aubrey, highest paid kicker. He's an RFA, I believe, after this year. Kicker is a very streaky position in general. So I don't mind waiting. You can just do it in the offseason. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better on Prize Picks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. Keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Prize Picks is the only app to offer stacks, pick the same up to 3 times in the same lineup. Maybe, for example, you want to do more than passing yards and rushing yards and TDs for Kyler Murray. Certainly would not blame you. You can do them all in the same lineup, only on Prize Picks. A football Sunday Prize Picks lineup here. Cameron Dicker, more than 7.5 points for the Chargers against a struggling Titans team. Jermaine DK, a half anytime touchdown there. And Justin Herbert, more than 1.5 passing TDs. Also follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. Again, from Anthony Hill Burner says, generally get Sean Lee in here. I don't care. What's the worst that can happen? You are already so bad. Cut Diggs in the offseason. Let your players walk. Sign multiple other players. Otherwise, the Minkah trade makes even less sense. Still awful either way. Also, draft Anthony Hill and Michael Taft out of Texas. I don't know if the Anthony Hill burner is the former Jaden Blue burner. I think it might be. In general, though, it is a very good linebacker class. So I do think you'll be able to find a good linebacker or two if you want to in this year's NFL draft. From JB, we still have Bland, Diggs, and Overshown. We have talent on the defensive line that's not deployed correctly. We don't need to send draft picks for talent. We need a new defensive coordinator or a reborn one. Puts in man coverage. Are they going to stick with Eberflus in 2026? Let him draft this kind of guys. 2 words. Taco Charlton, not TJ Watt. Big fan, Tom. Really enjoy. I appreciate that. Couple notes. Overshown's not healthy yet, but he'll get healthy soon. I don't think you can count on Diggs at this point. With the way the front office feels about him, that divorce is pending in the not-too-distant future there. I do think you need more talent. You mentioned a linebacker and a corner. What about safety? I don't think your edges are that good. I think Ezraku's got potential, but everyone looked better when you had Minkah because he took the attention away. And now you don't, and I think that's why Osa's production is down this year. He's getting more double teams because Dante Fowler didn't scare you. Ezraku does not scare you yet. Clark is not his pass rusher. It was a bad trickle-down effect. So overall, I want you guys to rate the Cowboys' defensive talent. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Gotham Guy, $10. You probably already talked about this, but even if Pure Pass will fix our defense, is there anyone in next year's draft better than the current trade options? Who's available in the trade options? Like, if Maxx Crosby is in that conversation, which I don't think he is, then no, of course not. I don't think Hendrickson is realistically available. It's also just like having that 12th pick, getting somebody good, young, and cost-controlled does matter. You have to, if you're going to pay your offense the way you're paying them, which you should, you're going to have to adopt cheap defense and hit on those draft picks. Otherwise, it's really hard to win team builder-wise. You have seen that issue with, like, the Bengals, for example. And at times, Philadelphia, but they've always been able to fix it the very next season. There are good defensive players in this class. Sonny Styles, but Arvell Reese is even better at linebacker. Ruben Bain, I think Keldrick Faulk could be a nice piece for you. Caleb Downs. Do you get one of them? It's possible. We'll see where they end up picking in the end. Tan Fam, what is the weakest position on our defense? Yes. Take your pick. Deep coverage. You're getting gashed repeatedly. I don't know. The safeties are super banged up right now. Maybe, they were down your 3 or top 4 in that game. 4 your top 5 at the end, actually. You had to play corner there. Corner is not good enough, especially outside of Bland. They're actually pretty bad outside of him. Linebackers are not playing well because you don't have Overshown. Maybe not DT because at least you're getting like some good play in games, not consistently, but some good play. Like it's all kinds of bad. It's all of it. That's the issue, is that nothing is playing well. Josh Turner says, "Hope we trade Jerry." Wouldn't that be nice? There are several jokes here that I could make that are very much over the line that I will not make out of, I don't know, not getting myself canceled about, what Jerry could do to get rid of him. But it's It's not good in Dallas. They've got some significant issues, and it starts with the ownership. Now, if you missed today's Cowboys Mailbag live, then subscribe. We're live on Mondays, live on Thursdays. Don't miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/Cowboys TV. This coming week will be a little bit different. No live Monday because of the game, and then live Tuesday for the trade deadline. $10 from William Cook. We all know the root cause of this situation. The GM doesn't face any consequences for his poor performance, and this motivates him to take risks to improve. You need to have something. You need to have a little bit of desperation. A little bit of desperation could be good. Look at Philadelphia. Look at Tampa. They had some desperation. It paid off for him in the end. I would like it if you operated with the actually my job security is so good I get benefits from that of like I can be a bit more aggressive. I can do more crazy stuff and I can go for it and not risk, having to lose my job in the process. But they don't. They just are so content to play it conservatively because they don't ever want to be bad. And they're barreling towards, just like the Romo era, mediocrity. Kevo, Myles Garrett, make it happen. I don't care. Offer full coverage on his deal. Not how it works, actually. It's just not. The salary cap can be manipulated within reason. You can't do it. The Browns would lose a ridiculous amount of salary cap space with nothing that you are able to do to prevent that. It is a non-starter. I get Myles Garrett's frustrated. Guess what? That's what the money's for, Myles. That's why you requested a trade and then said, I'll just stick around. He signed up for it. I don't feel bad for him at all. The John 4. Any noteworthy college defensive players? Maybe wait. There are defensive players. You can go check out we broke down the Kuiper big board. Several defensive names on that list. Guys like Arvell Reese. Guys like Reuben Bain, Caleb Downs. Throw a dart. You can find a defensive player that will probably help you given how bad you are right now. The Tyler Troop. How about a Logan Wilson trade? I think he could actually be available. He's not playing very much. The biggest issue you now face for the Bengals is they just lost another linebacker to injury. I think Shaka Hayward out for a while with his injury. The Bengals, view themselves as a potential threat. They should have beat the Jets and they'd be like a half game out of the AFC North. Now they're only a game and a half out. They're actually closer to being a playoff team than the Cowboys are right now. So, doesn't sound good, but that's where we're at. I'd call about him, though, because he is under team contract for several years. He'd probably just cost you a day 3 pick if they were to actually move him. I don't mind that one at all. Would you trade for Logan Wilson? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off for me in the comment section of today's show. Roman wants to tackle Jerry. The other problem you face is on this front is, hey, bad news, guys. The son is just as bad, if not worse. He's a problem. Sick Tricks AB, $5 says sign Odell Beckham. I assume this is now a parody idea because this is not. Odell Beckham is also suspended for PEDs. Also isn't good. He's cooked. He's never playing again in the NFL, I don't think. Trade for Minkah, try to trade for a defensive end. Those trades I don't mind. If you were, the funny part is if you already had the edge, you could be like, let's go get Minkah and go for it. Could you do a 2-for-1 trade for Jalen Phillips and Minkah Fitzpatrick? Maybe something along those lines start to move the needle a little bit for you, but I do think it has to be valuable in the end. King Trail says, I want the linebacker from Ohio State, Arvell Reese. He's super fun. He does some blitzing stuff too, shades of Jalen Walker and a better version, which puts you into the Micah conversation. I am very curious where he gets deployed in the NFL because he does a really good job of blitzing. He's just big enough, I think, to hold up there. So I would not mind taking him and honestly considering him as a edge too. Last one from Corey Poindexter Jenkins. If we have the assets to comfortably do it, I look to add both Jermaine Johnson and Logan Wilson if a Crosby trade isn't in the cards. I think Wilson, let's just guess it's a day 3 pick. That is doable. I would bet the Jets are going to ask for at least a second-round pick from Jermaine Johnson. The thing that gives me pause, that's a lot. You also can't draft in the second. So I'm not opposed to it, but I do wonder what the actual cost of a Johnson trade would end up being.